That is fine. Okay. Excellent. Okay, hello, everybody. Some of you I know, some of you I don't know. Welcome to our second seminar. So this is the second time we're doing it, hoping to grow it a little bit more. My name is Yelena. To those who don't know me, I'm a personal trainer and a sports nutritionist, and I have been doing it for last 11, 12 years now. And I have been training, and the question was how long I've been training, over 10 years, so 11 years, 10 years competing. Right, I've been competing for 10 years. I hold my pro card with WBFF, Federation from US. Got my pro card in 2022, did pro show, did worlds. This year in August, I did worlds in Miami, placed third. It was an interesting experience. Yeah, still competing, not planning to quit yet. I'm gonna compete probably until I cannot compete anymore physically. like I'm planning to live forever. So today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what this program is all about. And we're going to talk about things like a meal plan. We're going to talk about things that can help you in your weight loss and the progress that you can take. We have done body composition with Yermolenko. Right, so we're going to start with that. So body composition is basically when people come to me, I do the body composition that we add the data in there, right? And the scale that I'm using is my best friend. Not many people like it because it tells the truth. Arman, you have nothing to worry about. You're still very young, okay? But hopefully you're going to stay there where you are at right now. The very first thing that we're going to talk is the weight. Whenever people measure on the scale, weight is irrelevant. But most of the time what happens is they go to the gym, they have zero access to the body fat or body muscle, right? They step on the scale, and they see no changes, or sometimes weight went up, and they got all discouraged, right? What is happening? My weight is I'm not losing any weight. I'm going to the gym, but I'm not losing any weight, and they get discouraged, right? So weight is irrelevant because when the muscle started to accumulate when you train, your muscle is heavier than the body fat, and the fat just takes a volume. The best way to actually see the progress if you do not have access to this type of scale is actually to take pictures, right? Take progress pictures every week. And you will start to see changes. Another very interesting thing that I have noticed with all of this program, and now knowing a little bit more than I before. So here it is. We do not see ourselves in the mirror of today's exact image, because whatever you see today need to go into the processing part of your brain at night to put it all into perspective, to give it to you as an understanding what's going on. So the retina of your eye can absorb billions beats per second. But the nerve outputs that brings it to the processing part of the brain is only so many cells, so many channels. And therefore, the information that goes from the retina of the eye to the back part of your brain getting lost. And it's like millions beats per second remains. After that, you're going into the sleep, and you have so many brain cells, right? And you have so much perception of your life, you have so much education, right? But because it's only so many brain cells that we have, a lot of information gets lost, right? And therefore, only hundreds beats per second get stayed in there, and it's not enough to make a picture. Therefore, your brain is making constant predictions of its surroundings. And today's image, it's not like live today's image. You have, and this is what usually happens with, let me just move this a little bit this way. So this is the timeline. And this is today. This is where people join me. It takes 3 months to form a neural connection in the brain. 1, 2, 3 months ago. This is what you see in the mirror today. You see the image of 3 months ago. Okay? So now the first month of training goes in. You see yourself here. Second month of training goes here. Like, I don't see any changes. Like nothing is happening, like the pen's getting loose, but I don't see any changes, right? And you do not have to, you cannot see them yet. The brain haven't processed it yet. Third month goes in. This is usually when the competition is happening, right? 12 weeks out, comp is here, right? And you only see yourself at today. You're going on the borrowing my belief that you're going to make there, and you're there, you're on stage. You look at yourself in the mirror, you see the weird image that is not really kind of matching this image. You're excited, right? Months go by. This is after the competition, people started to eat again. But now they started to see the progress of 3 months ago. Okay? And now this thing started to go back in reverse because now a lot of people start binge eating. Okay? At the 2 months mark, this is when majority of people quit because they don't see results. Everybody's telling me you do it for like 8 weeks, 9 weeks, 10 weeks. You're going to create a habit, but I don't see any results. It's not working. It's not for me. The people quit. Right? You should not be seeing results because of this phenomena that we have to call brain. Okay? You just need to trust the process. If you were to continue with all of this, and now month 4 goes in, now you see results. Month 5 goes in, you see results. Month 6 goes in, you see more results. Now you fully see yourself in shape, right? If you don't go back into binge eating or eating back into like eating the food that you were eating before, eating the food that brought you to me, right? Then you're going to start to develop a habit because now what you do matches with what you see. See what I mean? Right? And a lot of people, they just simply do not see it because they physically cannot really actually see it and comprehend it. And this is when most people don't understand that you do not stop. You just continue going with what you're doing, and you eventually going to start seeing results, and eventually you're going to be able to match it, the mirror image, with what exactly that you're doing. So that's why majority of people will quit after 2 months because whatever is going on in their brain does not match the output that they're doing in a gym. And because of that phenomena, I'm always going to be employed. Because people go back to their food, I'm always going to have a job to do, so which is great. And when they ask me, like, do I like pizza? I love pizza, right? I can once in a while actually go and eat pizza, and I wake up leaner because of my metabolic system changed. But I love pizza because it brings me clients. You know what I mean? Any questions on this part?
Find clients at the pizza shop.
I know, right? No, I actually found one of the clients at, at the Whole Foods, at a place where you buy supplements, talking about omegas.
So, Yelena, one question.
Yep.
Most of the time when you see, like, those personal trainer, everybody, they have a cheat meal. Like, they have once a week. Weekends, they eat whatever they want. I've heard that all the time. So how does that work? Like, you barely eat the cheat meal, right?
Of course I do. So the question is like cheat meals. Where the cheat meals come in? Because lots of trainers give cheat meals, right? I'm repeating because of the mic, right? So it goes in there. This is what I usually say. You came to me, people are 40, 50 years old, and they're asking me about the cheat meal. And I simply tell them, you've been cheating for 40 years. There is no cheat meal for you until you see yourself in the shape that I want to see you. That's it. End of story. When people coming to me that have competed, that in a shape that they already been a competitor, and then yes, we do a cheat meal. It's called refeed. We call it refeed. Because we are taking away certain foods, and in order to spike up your metabolic system, we give a high glycemic carbs like pizza, right? And your body will start burning the high glycemic carb in a very high rate, so you use way more energy to digest that specific food, and you get leaner. It actually helps you to reduce body fat. But until your metabolic system is changed, that is not going to work.
Okay, so you have to go through the whole process first, and then you cleanse your body, you achieve the goal. Now, and how often you have the cheat meal?
So refeeds, so we have few different parts in, so how often do we have a cheat meal? During the prep, let's say my prep is usually 18 weeks. Right? I go for prep about 4 or 5 months before. I do pre-prep when I schedule everything in. Then I'm going into my prep because I like to be in the last 2 months. I like to be in like 1% away from my show stage, from my stage look. I would probably go on a cheat meal about once a week in there, and I will have something high glycemic.
Okay.
Yeah, but I have my favorites.
Something that's totally opposite.
Something that is completely not on my meal plan. I would go for pizza. I have a favorite place for pizza. I'll buy a cheesecake, right? So something that is completely off my meal plan. Something that has high glycemic sugar, regular sugar. Yeah. But until people get into the shape that they want, because what happens is it triggers your past eating. It triggers the food consumption that what you came to me with, right? It activates all of the neural passages of like, oh, okay, finally I get something like this. I'm probably gonna get it and can get away with it again, right? And that stops the progress, right? That keeps you in not burning your body fat. Yeah. So if you first need to switch. How long does it take for a body to switch? It depends on different factors. Exactly. Yeah, a slimmer person most likely switch faster, but and somebody who has more body fat will switch longer. But either you are very slim or very fat, you actually have the same metabolic system inside. The very slim person just haven't eaten enough. So is very fat person haven't eaten enough the proper stuff, right? And both of them has very limited amount of muscle. And if I would to shred, I often tell my clients who has high percentage of body fat, if I would to shred all your fat out, you would be anorexic looking person inside of your fat, because they haven't really done anything to grow the muscle. Legs will be bigger, right? Those people will have bigger legs. Okay. So wait, now next one on a scale is the body fat percentage. Body fat. So body fat is different men and women. For guys, okay, so this is male. This is female. 10%, 20%. This is, we're going to keep it like as a mid-mark. Okay. 15, 20, 25, 30. In this society, between 10 to 20 on a guy will consider to be normal. For girls, 20 to 30, they will tell you nothing wrong with you. In my church, Yelena's church, if your body fat started to go above 15%, it means there is something wrong. There is something started to go off. It means you're either not eating enough meat or you are not working out enough. It means that your hormone system started to switch. It means that your estrogen started to go up and testosterone started to go down. For women, the same thing. They will tell you that anywhere between 20 to 30, it's a nice place to be. In my church, it's 25, up to 25. If you want to see your abs in the mirror every morning, you will need to be around 20%. If you want to look a little bit more smooth everywhere and you don't showcase the muscles, 25. This range, this is when your hormones are at optimal level. This is when your metabolic system is burning at optimal level. If you started to go over 25%, same idea. The little amount of testosterone that we do produce means started to go down or completely get rid of, like your body stop producing it. And estrogen will start to rise. When the estrogen started to rise, there is a couple of things that are going to be happening to you. First of all, high estrogen, it's a cancer prone. Cancer loves estrogen. If estrogen is going up, it means you're prone for cancers. Where it's going to manifest depends on your mindset. Guys, when the estrogens go up, it means testosterone goes down. When testosterone goes down, there is one most important thing that is happening to guys, and nobody talks about it, especially in the families, that their libido goes down, their erection is no longer working, or working very little. And so all of a sudden, nobody started to get interested in sex or each other, right? And the family started to fall apart. Because his body fat is over 20%, he is no longer interested in sex. Female will think, the wife will think that he is no longer interested in her. Her body fat is closer to 30% or 35%. She's no longer interested in sex. Husband is going to think she's not interested in him. They all of a sudden started to look in the different directions, hoping they're going to find love in there. They will go on adrenaline when they find somebody, but it does not fix the problem. They're going to start to have sex with other people, but it's still not working. Okay? Reducing the amount of body fat will bring the families together. You will be happy that you're not single. Because dating, being single this year, in this age, it's crazy, right? So it's good luck. So that's main reason where the estrogen and testosterone working. They work together. Testosterone goes down, estrogen go up. Estrogen goes down, testosterone go up. All right? So they work like this. And eventually, when it's completely low, our regular doctors can send you to test it. Right? They will not send female to test, but they will send male guys to test it. All right? And there's going to be a range. The highest is 800. I think the lowest is about, I don't know, maybe 100 or 150. I don't remember exactly that. If you fall in between like these two lines, they will tell you nothing wrong with you. However, if your testosterone is less than 500, this is when the problems with erection is going to start. But testosterone is not just the sex part. It means you're no longer producing muscle. It means your metabolic system is shutting down. It means you are no longer want to get out of bed every morning. You want to stay in there. It means you're getting depressed. It means nothing is interesting for you anymore. You don't want to take care of yourself. You don't want to take care of anybody else. You do it just because it's a habitual at this point. Okay, so the low level of testosterone is a big problem for a lot of people. What kills it, of course, the food. Right? The food is going to kill it. High estrogenic foods, high sugar foods, milk, any dairy, because it inflames a lot of things. And we're going to talk about it a little bit more. So when we compete, the guys go somewhere around 5% for the physique competitor. Bodybuilders compete at about 1 to 2% of body fat. So they get very lean. We drain water out of them. And they showcase all of the muscles. They go spray tan, so they look even better. And they compete. If your body fat, let's say for the guys, somewhere around 25%, it means you're overweight. To lose anything between 25 to 15% is actually super simple. All you need to do, you need to go on a slight caloric deficit, you need to start walking, you need to hit the gym to do some sort of weight training. Because body will get rid of things that you don't need very easily. It will store it for you when your metabolic system is not working, but once you start firing things up, it will start getting rid of it very quickly, very fast. What's difficult to lose is the competition part, right? Anything below 10% and down, that's called essential body fat. This is the fat that we absolutely have to have for our functions. And we stay in that competition shape for a very short period of time, only like last month before the competition or something like that. And then you would have to replenish it, otherwise you're going to start to get sick. Okay? For girls, when we compete, anything under 15%. Last show, I think I got to about 12, right? So it's about 12% last show. And then bodybuilding girls, they'll get super lean. They probably get about 5%. And again, this is not healthy to stay like that all the time, right? So after the competition is done, you need to go back into your normal 20%, 18, 20, 21. So that's where you want to be, okay, as a lean person. Any questions in here? No? Yes?
What ends up happening if someone tries to stay in a sustained period of time at the lower body fat?
You require fat for all of the hormones production. If you stay too lean, you're going to start shutting down your hormone production. Yeah, and we do need fat. It's an important component for producing your cells of the muscle as well. All right, so you're gonna get sick. You're gonna get sick. You're gonna get ill, low energy, depressed. Yeah, everything needs to be like in normal amounts. Yeah. Any other questions? You have you are only 19 years old, right? Your body fat is showing 9%, right? It's simply because of your age. You're very young. You're going to be developing until probably about 21. Sometimes between now and 21 years old, your body started to kick in with the production of muscle, right? And in order, we're gonna talk about muscle like right after, okay? So now we'll talk about it. So right now being 9%, which is good because there is a lot of kids that are obese at that level already, right? So it's good that you are lean, which is gonna make you eat more meat. Yeah. Any other questions?
So for the males, the body fat that they want to return to after their competition is around 10?
Around 10, 11. 10, 11, 12. If you want them to be calmer, 12. More aggressive, 9. It depends. And because that changes personality as well. When the body fat leaves, it's very interesting that I have noticed with my clients, when they started to get leaner, they started to get crankier. And my theoretical explanation of it is, when we eat a lot of fat, there is a lot of fat comes to the brain, right? Because the body will scavenge all of the fat for omega-3 and will bring omega-3 in. If you eat very high fatty foods, you'll have a lot of fat in your brain. Brain is very fatty. So because brain is a transmitter and receiver of energy, right, like of all of the things and all of the perception of the world and stuff, it started to basically, as if you're muffing it, like packing it and covering it up of the transmission. So you see the bullshit of the world a little bit less. But once you started to lean out, you started to be more receptive to that stuff, right? And nothing changed. Nobody changed around you. People don't change. It's you changed. You see that stuff more. Things started to get more irritable for you because of that. And very often within these 12 weeks of prep, the people will come to me crying, like, I cannot take it anymore. Like, I'm having problems here, I'm having problems there. You're not having problems. You're losing your body fat. And that's what the body is reacting to it, right? So yeah, it's a very interesting phenomenon. I usually tell them, like, it means the diet is working. If you are feeling cranky like this, it means the diet is working. Like, stay with it. Yeah, body's like, where is my fat? Give me fat. Give me hamburgers. More questions? Any questions in here? Because you're going to be competing, right? So you're going on stage. Yeah, and you are, do you remember your percentage of body fat at the moment? You're 18.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
This is going to be the hard part.
That is going to be the hard part.
First little bit went fast.
Yeah, and it went fast, right? Like, how fast it took you?
Yes. 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
3,
Yeah, what was the main thing?
The first measurement was like 19.6, I think.
Okay, and what was the main thing that you have noticed between what you were eating and what I gave you to eat?
Just lower carbs, and I'm not eating any processed foods. Everything I'm making myself from scratch. Like,
What was your to-go processed food?
if we got pizza Friday night for the family,
Okay.
or we ate out at White Spot, you know, the hamburgers, the yam fries. So anytime we go out to eat with the family, that was my thing. But most of the time I would eat at home, but yeah, it's all the bad food once in a while.
The amount of protein
And
intake.
the protein went up.
Yeah. By a lot?
Trying the low carb days versus the high carb days, switch it up every other day.
Okay, so next one is on that paper. Water, right? So we have water. Water, we are made of water. We have to drink a lot of water. We're not going to touch too much on this subject. Usually people dehydrated, and the scale specifically, the water content, it's not that it's measuring it, it's calculating it. Right? So the scale has a formula in there, and it calculates based on your weight and body fat. Based on the weight and the body fat, it calculates how much water you have. Everybody excited? And you're going to see different numbers, right? Most of the time I see about number 48, so meaning 48%. For girls, I want water to be at about 55, and for guys at 65. So if you are dehydrated, the scale is going to show you that you have higher percentage of body fat. And what also changes is when people have alcohol. This is very interesting because I have noticed that trend with my scale. Let's say you had your drink, alcoholic beverage, 1 glass of wine. We do weigh-ins on Thursday, right? So we do our weigh-ins on Thursday. On the weekend, you had 1 glass of wine. On Thursday, it's going to show that your body fat percentage is higher by 1 or 2%. Next Thursday only is going to drop to the percentage that was week before your alcohol intake. Basically, what happens when the alcohol enters into our system, your body immediately detects it's a poison. It doesn't matter what kind of alcohol you drink, wine or hard liquor. The second it hits the stomach, it's emergency. So your cortisol go up, everything stops. Your digestive system stops, your production of your hormone stops. The body will right away suck it into the bloodstream of your stomach lining and deliver it straight to your liver. Right? And liver will start working on detoxifying it, changing the molecule so you can actually excrete it. It's a very long molecule, and along the process, it actually does a lot of damage to the body as well when it goes out. So what I think happening with, because I see the change, fluctuation in the body fat, it's not that you get fatter. It inflames the muscle to the point that it probably relaxes it, making it into the density of the fat, so the scale cannot read whether it's fat or muscle that it's going through. So how the scale works, so there is a plate, the signal goes through the body, and it enters different tissues, right? And that stops the signal or make it go faster or slower as it goes through the tissues. And that goes into the formula. And that formula gives the result what we see on the paper, right? So basically, when you are inflamed from the alcohol intake, that will show that your muscle is inflamed, that your muscle changed the density, right? Just one alcoholic beverage will do that. And it takes 21 days to detoxify your liver. And people drink on a daily basis. People drink on a weekly basis. People drink on like a couple of times a week. Wednesday, hump day, right? Everybody go to the whatever. And basically, they never detoxify the liver. People who have alcohol on a regular basis on my program, they tend not to lose weight as fast as other people do, or at all, because they cannot stay on a program. People who smoke weed cannot stay on a program. It kicks them out all the time. So it doesn't allow brain to focus on that. Next one is, so we got the water. Any question about, how much water do you need to drink? That's usually the question that people ask. 4 liters. 3 to 4. I will put 3 to 4. So 3 throughout the day, 1 liter throughout workout, and a little bit more throughout the cardio. So like throughout workout and cardio, you need to drink extra water aside from 3 liters that you need to drink during the daytime. Yeah, and please do not touch Kangen water. People hate me for saying these kind of things. We need to have acidity of our stomach kept up at a specific level. We do not want it to be diluted. We'll talk about it a little bit later. So do not touch distilled water during that time. There is a very specific reason for it. There is a time and place to do it, right? But on a daily basis, please do not touch distilled water. We're gonna use distilled water for our water loading for the show. Very specific reason. Okay. Now we have muscle. Okay. So before we talk about muscle, I actually want to talk about the protein consumption. And I'm going to talk about how I build my meal plan. So people understand how much meat they should actually be eating based on the numbers, even based on the numbers the government gives them. So we're going to be talking about grams per pound of body weight. And we have protein. Actually, you know what? Let me just erase this. I need more room. So we have protein. We have carb. And we have fat. In order to maintain, if you're under 30 years old or over 30 years old, if you want to build, or if you want to cut. So when people are asking about meal plans and they need to identify what is it that the goal that they have. Somebody who is young and need to build up muscle, want to build up muscle, from the very beginning, you're very lucky that you're getting this information at your a young age, because that is going to help you to stay healthy and young for a long period of time. This is the time to set up all of your habits of consumption of a specific things and do not touch other things. Okay? Inflammatory things, we'll talk about it. Okay? So maintain, if you are under 30 years old, you're going to see 0.8 gram per pound of body weight. So 0.8 gram per pound of body weight. It doesn't specify guy or girl, because at this time, everybody basically kind of the same. A guy may be higher, so therefore weight is going to be more, therefore they need to take a little bit more protein. If you are over 30 years old, you need to increase. Government stops at that. You do not see any other number anywhere anymore. Government doesn't talk about aging. Government doesn't talk about sarcopenia, muscle wasting due to aging. That starts after 30 years old. Right? So if you're over 30 years old, you need to increase amount of your protein. So once we hit 30, your body, non-negotiable, going into the sarcopenia, muscle wasting due to aging. It can be 29, it can be 30, 31, 32, but within that age time, this is when everything started to literally die off. And in order to fight the aging process, you need to do a few things. Right? The first one is consumption of the protein needs to go up. So for girls, I will go to at least 1 gram. For guys, we'll go 1.2. Okay? Now, if you would want to build, we'll talk about build and cut a little bit later. Now, for carbs, it will say something approximately the same, 0.8. If you're trying to maintain what does maintain mean? If right now I'm about 145 pounds, I'm 50 years old, 145 pounds. I was 111 pounds when I started 10 years ago. My first prep, my first competition, I was 103 pounds on stage. Now I'm 135 pounds on stage. So over years, my rate was about 5 pounds of muscle a year that I was growing, right? Accumulating because of the training and meat, chicken. So if I today decided that all I want is just to maintain, all I need to do, get my protein consumption to 1 gram per pound of body weight, and reduce my carb consumption a little bit as well, just to stay lean and keep lower on the fat. I will maintain. But in 1 year, so sarcopenia, it's about 2% of lean muscle mass a year, right? So I would be 2% less on the muscle number, and I will be 1 year older. So the aging would start to kick in, and I would start to get started to age. So if you want to fight sarcopenia, you need to eat more protein. And I do want to stay younger longer. So I think it's working. For the fat, in order to stay on the leaner side, 0.5 gram, guys or girls, is totally fine. Right? So this is easy. When you see a lot of young people on a social media in the stage form and telling them like, I can eat cake, I can eat this and that, and let me show you how you can eat carbs and they still stay lean. And then like this 50 years old woman will look at it, the one that needs to like, let's say 35% body fat, and it's like, what? Right? Like, let's eat cake. and then nothing happens, right? Simply because like those kids, those young people, they haven't gone through what is going to be happening to them a little bit later, right? And the cruel part is that you do not actually see it for 10 years because it's all cooking on the inside, right? Like it's cooking on the inside. You think you're going to be young forever. You think you have great genetics, right? My gosh, like the Russian genetics amazing. The black people genetics is amazing, right? Like, and then like Iranian people is like amazing genetics. No such a thing. If you do not work it, everybody die off at the same rate. Okay. Everybody will be like aging like super fast. It doesn't matter what nationality you are. But once you work it, then maybe like your genetic predisposition, if you were an active kid when you were a kid, right, you're genetically predispositioned to stay more fit, right, throughout the life, versus some family who are sedentary all their life and the kids are very sedentary, right? So that is gonna definitely work. So anyway, I forgot where I was going with it, but anyway. So for carbs, we're gonna stay at 1. And we're gonna, for guys, a little bit more, 1.2. Staying leaner for fat is 0.5 is still fine. Now we wanna build. And let's say we have this like a person who had eating disorder, right? And they want to build up the muscle. And, or somebody who is, haven't eaten enough food, right, in the past. If I were to give them my meal plan, they will be puking all the time because it's simply like a lot of food in there, right? Like a lot of food in there. But to build means like if I, from this shape, would want to go to the next category, right, I would have to increase my meat consumption. If somebody who is a bikini body need to go into the physique body, within 12 weeks or 16 weeks or a year, they will need to eat way more food, right? So, and this is usually a very specific request for me if somebody wants to go, not a bikini, I don't want to be bikini, competing at a bikini, I want to compete at figure. Therefore, I will give them my meal plan, but I will add more meat and more carb. I will really going to feed them, right? Now, guys, most of the time, when we're going to do a little calculation to see what those numbers actually means in food term, very often the family will eat almost identical amount of food, right? The guy may get a little bit more on the meat, maybe a little bit more on something else, but that little bit more is still not enough. Usually breakfast, a lot of people will start avoiding. That will be some lunch, regular sandwich, guy or girl, they grab the same sandwich from the store, right? It's not going to be like, can we double up on protein in there for guys? Not gonna happen. And then during the dinner time, it's always going to be like he'll get maybe 2 pieces of meat and she'll get 1 piece of meat, right? About right? About right, right? So yeah. But in order to build, now we need to add protein, right? And we are not cutting yet. For girls, it will be 1.5 grams per pound of body weight. For guys, I will go up to 2. This is where you now need to listen, okay? So if you want to eat more, if you want to grow muscle on you, because right now you're getting into the time when your body started to go in a high gear producing muscle. It was growing your skeleton system, it's still growing it, right? But it's also going to, because the body grows in stages, brain develops in stages, right? So there is always time, and there is a time for a specific stage of a body to do certain things. It will get you the bone structure, it will get you your connective tissue structure, your endocrinal system structure. Once all of that in place, your body will start growing muscle on you. It will start filling you up, right? To speed up the process, or to not so much speed up the process, to help with this process, you need to provide proper materials to do so. If you're not eating enough protein, you're gonna grow up being scrawny, very skinny. Okay, if you're eating sufficient enough amount of protein, then you'll grow into a very nice physique. You're never gonna go fat eating protein. Okay. For carbs, we need to increase on carbs as well, but I don't want to go too much on carbs because we don't want to go. The carb is funny part because you go a little bit too much, you started to accumulate body fat that you would have to lose after. And then for the if you don't give enough, you're not going to have enough muscle building, or you're not going to have enough energy to build the muscle. Okay? So we're going to stay at about 1.2. And for guys, I will say at 1.5. Fat will go from 0.5 here to about 1. But it's going to be good fats, probably 0.8. And guys can go up to 1. Okay? So now this is to build. This is basically go like you are nice looking, but you want to get more muscle. It's not when you are big and fat, and now you need to get more muscle, because the muscle that is going to get expanded inside of you, it will grow, right? But you're also going to grow in size, and you're not going to have any visible changes in your body. The people who do not follow my meal plan, but at least follow my protein consumption and start eating breakfast, but do not like still fidget around with the alcohol or eating out and stuff, they become more solid. They lift heavy, start lifting heavier, but they physically do not change in terms of how much body fat they have. But the interesting thing that I usually notice, that they become properly shaped. So they just, nice figure, just bigger. Okay, so the fat distribution, because of the hormone regulation through the protein consumption, right, makes them to distribute body fat into the more even kind of way. There is a very interesting thing about the body fat. Where is it that is going to be delivered and stored in your body? It depends on a few factors. It depends on how unbalanced your hormones. And we have body typing based on that. People with issues with thyroid will deposit fat in a certain way. People with adrenal issues will deposit fat in a certain way. And simply by just looking at the person, I can say that you need hormonal support, you need thyroid support, because of that, right? So, and the women who go through fertility stuff to get babies, they usually develop the body fat storages, like they become very big around the hip area and the thighs. I've seen that a lot in women. All of the IUDs, especially Mirena IUD, will prevent you from properly losing weight. Yeah, so. It was interesting stuff about that. So now we're going into cut. So this is where my meal plan kicks in. And when people asking me, so what to do after I go through 12 weeks of the meal plan? When you go after 12 weeks of the meal plan, depending where is it that you are, if you like what you see after 12 weeks, then you go into maintenance. If you still have work to do, you go back to week 1 of the meal plan. Meaning that you still have body fat to lose, because when people come to me like at 35 to 40 to 50% body fat, my meal plan designed to drop about 10 to 15% of body fat, depending if there is actually that much volume in there, right? So if there is still room to go, let's say from 45%, they dropped 15%, now they are at 30, right? So they still from 30, they need to get to the safe zone of 25, so that will be a second cycle of that meal plan. But during the going to maintenance, as long as you're maintaining your protein consumption and do not put inflammatory foods, then your body still, and you keep working out, you're gonna keep accumulating that muscle. So now, let me just grab a little bit of water. When we cut, the main objective of the competition is to preserve your muscle. We don't want to engage into any activity that remotely can eat your muscle. We need to provide as much protein as possible. If your body is unable to utilize all the protein, you're simply going to eliminate it. It will come out, right? So we need to provide as much protein as possible. What we're going to cut carb and we're going to cut fat. The protein consumption is going to go from 1.5 to 1.8 to 2 for girls. And for guys, it's going from 2, 2.5, 3 grams per pound of body weight. So protein going up. That's when I start asking to double scoop of proteins on post-workout shakes, take extra protein for the before bed, and I see that with the scale. When I see that the metrics, let's say the muscle started to show the trend that the muscle is reducing, right? There's a couple of ways to go about it. If the person is very lean, like for example, like you are, Angela, right? You're already lean, and I see that the muscle is going down, right? I would add you to add the protein as we did. But if I see that the big person, but the body shows reduction on the muscle, hey Dora, come on in. I will not do that. And there is a reason for that. There's a very cool reason for that. We store body fat inside of the muscle belly, and we store body fat underneath of our skin, and we store our body fat inside of the cavity of the stomach. Anywhere it all gets packed, right? So in the muscle belly, we'll have muscle bundles, right? And we have muscle fibers inside, and we have myofibrils inside. It's a cute thing in there. And then we have body fat. It can be stored underneath of the skin, or it can stored as a marbling inside of your muscle cells, expanding the muscle, so you become ribeye, right? Now, once you started to work out, even though there is no such a thing as a spot reduction of fat, my theory that it first still takes from inside of the muscle bellies because it's easily available. So now, let's say these big people, usually they show 110, let's say 12 pounds of muscle on a scale when I know that they are anorexic inside of them, right? Meaning that when the scale is going through, and from point A to point B, scale takes about, let's say, 9 seconds to go. Once the body fat reduced, your muscle belly diameter will shrink, and now it takes 6 seconds to go through. Scale will read it as if you lost a muscle. It's not. You lost the fat inside of the muscle belly. Okay? So that's what I usually see, that trend on a scale. The first couple of weeks, I see the reduction of the muscle. If it's a person is big with high percentage of body fat, I'll do nothing by, I will not be adding any fat, or sorry, any extra protein to them. But for somebody who is already lean, under 20%, that's one, okay, so now it's time to add protein to you. Okay. Now, for the carbs, this is when we're going to start reducing the carbs. And it will go from 1.2 to 1 to 0.5. I will not go any lower than 0.5 in the carbs. I may go to 0.25, last maybe couple of weeks before the competition, but that's about it, right? But I will not go any lower than that. 0.25 maybe, okay, so maybe. When you go to 15 grams of protein, in this become, it's not good. We do have we have a week of no carbs completely, just vegetables, but vegetables still provide some carb. All right. Now for guys, so guys go same idea. It will go from 1.5, 1, 0.5, 0.25. Okay. So same idea. So as your protein go up, I will drop down your carb component. With fats, different story. We're going from, let's say if you were at 1, it goes 0.5, 0.25. And then I completely eliminate any fat outside sources of the fat whatsoever. So there will be no oil added. There will be only fat that comes in a chicken that is going to stay. So the fat will completely go for the duration. When you're going to start seeing me cutting the avocados out of the meal plan, it means the process of cutting fat started.
At what week does that start?
I don't remember. Okay. Yeah, I don't remember. So now this is basically all of the macros that what people talk about. Can you give me macros? Can you give me macros? Well, those are the macros for my cutting. And what I did, week by week by week by week, I calculated things and I put it into the menu. So that's what the meal plan is all about, right? So it's a menu. And simply, I've done it not so much because I kind of do not really, it's such a headache to calculate it all the time, first of all. But the second part is people are actually not educated about the food. We think that we are, right? We call it illusion of knowledge. I call it illusion of knowledge. I actually read it in a book. Like I talk about illusion of knowledge in my book, like how much of illusion of knowledge I had when I was like doing all of this before that, right? So because a lot of people don't understand the inflammatory component of foods, I put a meal plan together where I cut all of the inflammatory foods out, just to make sure that people are following. I don't want them to take cottage cheese in my meal plan and get inflamed intestines, and they cannot suck it in at opposing. You know what I mean? So I take this all out in there. And just it's easier. Any questions in here now? Any questions?
Yeah, I would love to know, whenever you have time, on my meal plan, what month, we're at the build stage, right?
No, the my meal plan is fully cut.
Oh, it's fully cut.
It's fully cut. After the show, you will talk about the maintenance, and I will just simply like explain what it's going to be, because it's easy. The meal plan is a matrix of things, how much protein for sure you need to have. At the beginning of the meal plan, first 4 weeks, it's the biggest amount of food, and a lot of people actually like to stick to that. A lot of people find the second portion of second 4 weeks more comfortable for them to stick around because it's a little bit less food in there. So it's easier for them to eat. As long as they're upping the protein, I don't care how lean they are. But it's not going to be a competition lean yet. So now, knowing all of these numbers, right, so what is it that is actually look like when it's on a plate?
I sometimes pass out by my 5th meal, and I say, I'm going to sleep, I can do this.
I'm always hungry, so I'm eating everything, and I'm like, I need more food.
I am like, oh, there's one more left.
Well, two of you have very different. You have very different bodies at the moment. You're just at the very beginning of your journey, right? And Angela have been training. You've been a trainer as well, right, for quite some time. So you have been lifting weights, and you've done fitness for how long?
A long time, like at least 10 years, about 5 years as a trainer.
Yeah. So, and a lot of people who just come, the metabolic system usually shut down, and we'll talk about it. What happens? So now, let's put it all into the numbers, right? I am going to. I'll keep this. Okay. We have 5 meals on a meal plan, right?
So you think I'll be eating more after?
You will be eating at least what is on the first 4 weeks of the meal plan after. Until you started to look like I want you to look, we're going through the meal plan a few times. Yeah. So we have 5 meals in the meal plan, right? So we have meal number 1, breakfast. We have girls 30 grams, guys 50 grams of protein, right? So 50 grams of protein in meal 1, 30 grams for girls. Meal number 2, usually it's apple and almonds, right? So there is nothing in there. So is for guys. Meal number 3, we have 30 grams for girls, 30 grams for guys. Meal number 4, 30 grams of protein in there as well. 15. And meal number 5, 30 and 15, right? So we need to have, so this is grams per pound of body weight. What's your weight in there right now?
127.
So 127, okay? And my weight is 145 pounds, okay? So 127, and you are 6 foot, 5'2" foot?
5'9".
5'9". So you're 5'9". 5'9", and I am 5'5". Okay, so 127. This is 200 grams right here. 200 grams of protein. You are in about here right now. So this amount of protein is perfect for you right now to build. Okay, so 127. You're actually more about 1.8. So you're 1.8 grams per pound. If you were to start eating 4 protein meals a day, it will be perfect for you to grow muscle and provide proper amount of materials for your body to build the muscle. Okay? That is understand, right? Anton, how heavy are you? What's your weight? Do you remember?
127.
No, Anton.
It was 221.
Okay, so let's say we have a male, it's 221. And you are 6'3", right? 6'3". Now, 221, 200 grams of protein, meaning that he is about here. This is to maintain for somebody who is under 30. So for that, we need to bring this number to build up the muscle because the muscle got lost. Over 40, so you are 55, right? So you lost about 40% of your muscle because you haven't been eating enough. Most likely you have not eaten this. You most likely, this is 5. Most likely haven't eaten this. You most likely had some sort of a meal, meat in your lunch. You may have had maybe 20 grams if you had 2 eggs. Usually what normally people eat 2 eggs or 3 eggs for breakfast, right? And practically nothing else. 1 egg is about 7 grams of protein. Same with 3, so 21, right? And maybe about 30 grams or like maybe 50. Let's say whoever was cooking dinner for you was generous enough to give you 2 pieces of meat. Let's say it's 50 grams. Okay. So, and let's say you have your 20, 50, and 50, so 120 grams of protein. You were at 0.5 grams of protein intake. This is the problem all over US and Canada. And this is why muscle will go down. This is why lots of function is going to go down. This is why the fat accumulation is happening. This is a big problem because people don't understand how much protein people actually need to eat. Women too, right? I don't want to, I cannot eat breakfast. I feel sick because I am when I wake up, I don't feel hungry. That's usually what I hear, right? I'm hungry. I don't want to do anything. I'll grab my coffee and I can run for half a day. I'll eat some lunch. I may stop for coffee and bagel, right? Eat some lunch and then at dinner, we'll go out and we eat something. Right, and so therefore there is no breakfast, right? Then maybe lunch, definitely no snack, and it's going to be maybe dinner with a glass of wine or maybe 2, right? Now we have 60 grams, and if let's say the woman is 145 and it's only 60 grams, she is at 0.4 grams per pound of body weight, and this is no longer absolutely not enough to sustain any function in a female that is over 30 years old. Yeah.
Okay, so I have a very close friend. That's just minus the wine. She's just like that, right? But she works out a lot and she's got good body. She got muscles and everything. She's toned.
Okay.
So I even tell her, I said, and she would eat junk too. If she goes out, she goes. So the thing is, how does she maintain all this?
I want to see her meal plan. I want to see what is it that she eats.
But this is pretty much how she eats. I know her.
If she works out, the body will still going to, how old is she?
She's 48.
Okay, so when you work out, you have ability to accumulate muscle still, okay? I want to see her on my scale though. Because to some people, it may look like she is in a good shape. Until I see her on my scale and see how much body fat or muscle she does have, I will not be able to tell you. Because some people can be very skinny and show the muscle and be slim and show the muscle because we're made of muscle. It doesn't necessarily mean that she has enough muscle for her height.
Well, she probably has memory because she's been doing since her 20s.
Yeah. She accumulated the muscle, and that's why she is burning a lot of junk food that she's eating. Maybe not all the time. She most likely eats some breakfast too, right? And maybe protein shakes here and there, right? No. I have to sit down and see. Because I cannot say, I cannot tell until I ask her specific questions and I see her on my scale. Yeah, because whatever people are sometimes seeing, your older son, right? You would look at him and you will think that, yes, he is have very nice body and he is big and muscle showing, right? But the metrics were showing a little bit different, right? He was surprised, right? And that's why, I would trust my scale versus the visual. Yeah. Yep.
You're kind of surprised with him, when you look at the numbers and you see how other people.
I want to see her glutes and legs. I want to see her glutes and legs.
She has good ones. Yeah. She was telling me the other day, and I said, "Oh, what about this and what about?" She goes, "Yeah, I actually am happy with my body." She's the one who's opening oxygen yoga, right?
Okay.
So I will ask her to come one day.
Yeah, ask her. I want to see her metrics, and I want to see what it is that she's doing.
Exactly. She's gonna drink coffee, no And when she goes out, she eats everything. I said, how do you eat all this shit? I don't, right? But then, I think she has more muscle memory than,
She accumulated more muscle when she was younger. Yeah, that's why like right now it's a very good idea to bank on it, because seeing the regression, right? Seeing the regression, seeing how much we age, and then apply that towards next 10 years, you're gonna see yourself in a very poor picture, right? So you don't wanna be there. You want to bank on your muscle as much as possible. So if anything happens, you go sick, you go like whatever, like you go to hospital and all of a sudden you need to fight some sort of like break your leg, right? And for 2 weeks, 2 months, you cannot go to the gym, right? And your body needs to accumulate, like need to leave. Somebody who is frail is going to take it very bad, but somebody who is fit is going to recover much faster, right? So that's probably one of, like, she probably delayed her aging as well because she worked out. Yeah, no, working out is super important, yeah. Okay, so now that you see, right, now I'm at 1:45, and in order for me, so I do have my breakfast, it's non-negotiable. I do have extra protein for snack. This one is in place, this one is in place, this one is in place. And I have post-workout or before bed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's 180 grams of protein for me. And that is basically, I am somewhere around here. During the prep, I will add my protein consumption. I do not limit myself on the meat as long as it's anywhere between 5 to 6 ounces. I probably eat about 40 grams per meal of all the time. And I double scoop my protein all the time. Yeah.
I was just looking at my numbers, right? Because I'm 121 pounds.
Yeah.
And I'm only eating 120 grams of protein. So that's like 1.
Yeah, so you are at 1, so you're right here,
Yeah, I'm not.
over 30. Yeah. So that's why we started to do the double scoop, like, or the adding the protein, that's extra 30 grams. And then next couple of weeks, we're probably going to add extra protein for your second snack. For the snack that doesn't have any protein, you're most likely going to have protein powder. So, and that's how, like, when people ask me, like, oh, is your meal plan as a cookie cutter? Well, I every week do the weigh-ins, and every week I see the changes. If I see what I see, whenever I see changes, I change things around. I may add second cardio, if you need to, right? Second hour of cardio. If the competition is coming close and the person needs to be on stage in a specific shape, that's going to be second hour of cardio. And sometimes it shifts things around. Any questions in here?
I need to eat my protein.
and I think I should increase my protein shake.
We will eventually. Not yet. Let's just. Yeah. Okay, so now we're gonna go back. Now that we talked about muscle and how much protein you need to eat for your muscle, we're going to go back to the chart of weigh-ins. Before we go there, I want to talk a little bit about fat itself. So when we're all born, we're perfect. We have every single man on earth, every single female on earth, we will have equal amount of fat cells, bone cells, muscle cells. Men will have their own, female will have their own. It doesn't matter what nationality we are, right? We are like a matrix was made. This is going to be females, this is going to be males. And then when we started to grow and we started to eat foods that our parents were eating, that's when everything started to change, right? And we can grow more muscle cells. The same way we can grow more fat cells. So when a person is being fat and they're eating more and the fat is started to grow, the fat cell started to fill up with the fatty acids. And when it's at a capacity and cannot stretch anymore, it will breed another fat cell. Now you have the whole layer of new fat cells developed, right? And then it go more, and then it go more. And it's impossible to get rid of them. Now, from that point, is forever maintenance of the fat cell. You need to keep them depleted in order to stay slim. But the body, through the neural passages and neural connections, it will keep wanting to fill them up. So it will give you the signals to eat this, to eat that, and it goes directly into the same fat cells. So this is when we're going to talk a little bit right now about this couple of things. So as I said, it is impossible to get rid of them with just a meal plan or just workouts. They're still going to be sitting there. You can keep them dormant. If you're staying and sticking to your meal plan, you can keep them dormant. And they will not grow. What can destroy them? So you physically need to destroy them. There are invasive ways to do it, which is liposuction, cold scalping. I think that would be one of those more invasive components. Cutting it out, right? So cutting, like when people cut certain things out and do the tummy tucks and stuff, right? So that will help. But this is very invasive. In order for that fat cell basically to not being functional anymore, it needs to be somehow burst. So there are fat burner that there is out there, but it's super illegal. Not advising on that. And there is machines. I have tried the cavitation machine in the past, and it does work. So cavitation means cavity. It means the electrical thing goes through there, and it makes cavity in a cell, and the fatty acids can come out from there. And then those fatty acids, you need to kind of like bring them to the bloodstream, so your blood actually can activate and get rid of it through either through workout to burn it, or the UP. I'm not sure how exactly that thing is. So after that, this thing, there is a suction cup that helps to get them sucked out of the cell. So it's like, you can Google it. Yeah, so this breaks down the cell. That's keep them sucking out of that of the cell itself. So that's the whole purpose of this cavitation machine. So now, when is it going to work, and when is it not going to really work? When somebody is on a meal plan, when somebody is working out, and your metabolic system is shifted and changed, and now you're burning properly how you're supposed to burn, then this is as a touching, like little final touch, and try to get rid of the fat cells that were there extra. Great tool. If somebody who coming there just for the cosmetic procedure, have never been to the gym, and think the machine or anything is going to help, it will help in a very little amount. You'll probably need to spend a lot of money in order to actually get rid of all of the fat cells through this machine. But in that sense, it's going to give very minimal result, and it will be not sustainable. All of the meal plans that, all of the programs, fat loss programs that are, how to say, targeting the reduction of the caloric intake, like we have Dr. Bernstein diet, then we have the fasting stuff that people do. When they're really reducing the amount of caloric intake, it damages the production of muscle, and that is not going to help you to get your metabolic system up, right? So you started at the low calories, you reduce the amount of weight on you, but you also reduce the amount of muscle on you, then you go back into the habitual eating, your body through the neural passages like, oh my gosh, food coming, let's fill it all up and more, right? So, and it's immediately started to go more. So just for these purposes, this machine is only great tools to use when you are in a good physical shape. Start working out, help it with like a final touch, especially for us competitors. It's a great way to smooth out. We have pockets of fat that will linger forever, right? And then like you still need to do a lot of squats in order to get rid of this. It took me 3-4 years before I actually started to see proper glute outline, right, when you do that. And then another machine is called scalping machine. It's not a cool scalping. It's basically the pad that goes in there and it contracts your muscles, right? It contracts. So great machine to use for, let's say you have lagging muscles. Lagging. Muscle, like everything grows, but that muscle doesn't grow. Like all of a sudden, let's say you have glutes are, like we're trying to activate, but they're not activating. So this machine can work on your abs, can work on your glutes, can work on your stomach, thighs. I think the three places where it can put on. And it will basically give you that extra vibrational contraction for it. And we're going to be trying with it because I still want my Brazilian butt. Too bad I wasn't born there. Yeah, but like without the machine, like you definitely need to do a lot of squats. But on another, like on a actually more practical way, people who are in a wheelchair and they're getting atrophied, right? People who are no longer mobile because of the incidents or accidents, whatever, right, paralyzed, their muscles atrophy, right? This is a great tool to get the muscles working, right? To get them work something in there, because it doesn't matter who contracts the muscle. As long as the muscle contracting, it's still going to be producing something, right? As long as the limbs are not cut, it's just nervous system that doesn't go through, that doesn't make the move. Yeah, so this is an excellent tool for that. If, like, let's say you're going to be a trainer, right? If you have somebody who is paralyzed or somebody who is in a wheelchair, right? This is an amazing machine to do that. Then somebody who sustained an injury, Anton, you were saying that you used something like that in the past, right? When you had the injury on your back, right? And they put you on a machine like this and it was contracting you, right? So that's great for the injury recovery. Beautiful, absolutely. Yeah. It usually takes about half an hour per session to get there, and it's like it goes range, right? Like it's either very small range or like high range. If the person doesn't have developed muscle, the range can go very high. But if somebody could be very sensitive, it could go very low. I was only able to handle on my abs. I was able to handle, I think, like maybe 10%. On my glutes, I was able to handle up to 30. Yeah, it's such a weird sensation. It's crazy. It's like, it's like, oh. So now next one is physical rate. On that paper, so it's a physical rate. I'm not gonna be physical rate. My scale can see you how well you are, and people with a higher percentage of body fat will show the physical rate low. On my scale, 1 being the worst, 9 being the best. So whatever number is going to show, that's where you're going to be. It means that this is how well you are on my scale. Most people I see, they are at about like 1, 2, the beginners that never trained before, 1 or 2. After that, when you started to work out, the physical rate, as the body fat goes down, physical rate goes up, usually. So this is not really some big significant kind of metrics, but it's nice to know. After that, I do have DCI, daily caloric intake. So this is a cool number. So DCI. Daily caloric intake. What does it say on yours?
2424.
2424. Okay, so he's 19, it's 2424. So it means 2,400 calories your body burns within 24 hours. In order for you to grow, you kind of need to eat that many calories. If somebody who needs to lean out needs to go into caloric deficit. And we establish caloric deficits through the meal plan. This is one of them. And the second one is adding the extra workouts, adding extra cardios, and that increases the caloric deficit, but we give a little bit less food. Right? So in my meal plan for the females, for girls, we have 1,600 calories approximately on a high day and about 1,500 on a lower day. And my DCI is actually approximately about there, about 26, I think. So that gives, so let's say if my caloric DCI is 2,600 calories and my meal plan is 1,600, I have 1,000 in a caloric deficit. How high or how much, how little you can go on a caloric deficit before you actually slow down the process. We have a thing in our body, we just talked about it recently. It's called adenosine triphosphate. Adenosine triphosphate plus creatine phosphate. Phosphates are here. Adenosine is the bond that holds them together. It's a fat molecule. It's an energy molecule. When this phosphate goes, this phosphate comes in to replace it, and then somebody brings the phosphate to this guy to hold it. So, and this whole cycle of replenishing the energy, there is a name for it, carb cycle or whatever. There is a name for it. English is not my first language. Sometimes I say certain things that may not sound right. Okay, so this whole cycle of getting your ATP replenished, right? So now, adenosine is a tricky guy. Adenosine has receptors. When food comes into the body, adenosine will detect it because your hormones will change, and it will start letting go the phosphate for energy. If your food didn't come, adenosine will hold the phosphates and will not let you do anything. So you woke up in the morning, your glycogen stores are completely empty, there is no sugar in the body, and you started to run around, do things. Food didn't come in, phosphate goes, nope, not giving it to you. I'm going to eat your bicep. I'm not going to tell you, but I'm going to eat your bicep. Maybe glutes. I love glutes. Right? You sit on it all the time, you're not using it, so I'm going to eat your glutes. So they start eating your muscle, right? Liquefying muscle. It takes 3 minutes to liquefy the muscle. It takes quite a bit longer to get all of this going. And then you're creating the neuro connection, neuro chain of that if you're doing it on a habitual time, like if you never eat your breakfasts, right? You wake up, you immediately going into the muscle consumption, right? So eating your own muscle, because the body will need to eat, right? So I like that there's a guy on the social media, he said like, and it will be eating you. And it's exactly true, right? I've been saying that for like decade. Now, but if you do put your food in, now adenosine is relaxed, okay, fine. Here we go, I'm gonna give it to you. Once you slow down the metabolic system and you're no longer burning and you start storing the body fat, you're gonna be eating grass and you're gonna get fat. Simply because of that, you cannot outsmart the nature. Right? You need to have all 3 components in place, carb, fat, and protein, in order for all of this to work, and you need to give food on a regular basis every 3 hours. For your chain, metabolic system is basically like a chimney. You need to keep putting stuff in there for it to burn. Otherwise, it's going to start to stagnate, and it's going to shut itself down, and you're going to be getting fat. And this is how everybody else out there, like they're getting fat because they do not eat. Right? It's very controversial. Like I tell people to eat, and they don't want to eat because they think if they eat, they're going to go fat. It's completely in reverse.
I know a lot of people do intermittent fasting.
Yeah, oh my gosh, yes, I can talk forever about that one. Yeah, so intermittent fasting, right? It's a big thing right now. It's a big trend. There is an article I can send you, how many things are happening within 1 minute in our body. How many processes are happening within just 1 minute. Your body doesn't stop producing cells. Your body doesn't stop producing fluids. Your body doesn't stop moving, right? It's always moving. Something is always moving. Your hair is growing. Your teeth are getting, like the tissue getting replaced. You're shedding your skin. Like it's all of this. It's non-stop process. Muscle production is non-stop process. Breathing is non-stop process. Blood circulation, non-stop, right? And all of a sudden, our 7% of our cognitive abilities deciding that we're going to starve our body for 16 or 24 hours. So everything that is happening on a subconscious level at 94% of operations of our body is going to be fine, right? So, and we starve it now. We're not giving any protein to it, right? But the body keeps producing cells, but there is no protein coming in. Right? Therefore, you're going to be forming the cell. Your body will take something from somewhere, and you're going to be producing cell, but it's going to be faulty cell. It's not going to be properly developed cell. And then you're going another intermediate. So now the whole layer for this, like whatever extra hours of fasting that you do is going to be producing faulty cells around your body or breaking down other systems in your body to produce something in there, right? So now you go another one, you go a year like this. You're going to be developing layer after layer after layer of faulty cells in our body. After about 8 months, when all of the cells renewed, half of your body is going to be sick. It's coming. People are going to start feeling side effects of it on a longer basis. Like give it a time. People start feeling it because it's non-sustainable. Eventually, something is gotta give, right? When is it a good place to do it? Somebody who is absolutely obese and somebody who is eating junk all the time and now decided to go on intermittent fasting, the body will hallelujah him for not providing the junk to the body for 16 hours so the body can at least clean something up. That's when it's going to work. Yeah, so when you are on a proper meal plan, when you're working out, you need to, everything is working, there is no need. Because we do actually have built-in fasting in our routine anyway, right? So we are eating last meal 6, 7 o'clock. Then we wake up in the morning, and that amount of hours, sometimes 10 hours, sometimes 12. That is normal amount of time to go without food. This is when the body does everything it needs to do to get rid of anything that needs to be done. However, closer to the show you're going to go, I will be starting asking you to get protein before bed to produce, because you are in a very big muscle production at that point, right, and a caloric deficit. I don't want you to be completely hungry and starving. I want to give at least one component of protein in there. So that's, that's different. So we do have built-in fasting on a daily basis. There is no need to expand it to 16 hours, to 20, to 24 hours. When I hear that people saying, like, I'm like, my gosh, he's producing heart tissue right now for this 24 hours, all cells are reproducing itself, right? Like, and all cells are now not receiving the materials. So yeah, like it's gonna come. All of the side effects of fasting is gonna come. The side effects of ketos already came. It's like, people are getting very sick with all of this. You cannot take the element out of your diet and hoping that your body somehow, through prana, is gonna build it, right? Like, it's not gonna happen. Any questions in here? Okay, moving on. So we had DCI, metabolic age, that's a cool number. Metabolic age.
I'm 36 now, right?
Very good, yeah, you reduced. So this is when it's, when people whose body fat is over 30%, the metabolic age is going to jump up to 50. My scale doesn't show anything higher than 50. Your scale does, right? You have a same scale. Does it show any higher than 50? You haven't seen it. Okay, you haven't measured anybody on it who is like obese? No? Okay. Okay. My scale doesn't go past 50, which is good for some people who is older. Okay? But when somebody who is 25 and they show metabolic age is 50, they cry. Because this is what my scale show them, like what they are, right? If the body fat is higher than 30%, you're going to show like close to 50 years old, right? And as the body fat drops down, then you're going to be seeing that metabolic age will slowly start to go down. Okay? Now, let's say you are, because right now there is lots of things going on, right? We have increased number of heart attacks. And a heart attack is probably number one thing that kills people these days. Normally what you have, you need to have 3 markers for heart attack. The first one is your age, non-negotiable. When you turn 50 years old, this has become your first marker for heart attack. Second marker for heart attack is going to be if you are your body fat. Right? Another one is going to be your visceral fat, which we're going to talk about it a little bit later. Visceral fat, right? And of course, sedentary lifestyle. When you are, let's say, 40 years old, but your metabolic age is showing 50, this is your marker for heart attack. If your body fat percentage is higher than 30%, if you're at 45, you are at a risk of second marker for heart attack, you're sedentary, right? And then if your visceral fat is more than 5 pounds of fat inside of your organs, that's your third risk of heart attack. So whether you are in a physiological age of 50 or metabolic age of 50, right, you are at risk with all of these metrics, meaning that if you have 3 markers, you have 50-50 chances not to wake up tomorrow morning. Right, that's scary thing, right? So that's how dramatically reduced your lifespan. So metabolic age, so lower the body fat, higher the physical activity, higher the muscle. The lowest amount of metabolic age is 12 on my scale. So I think, Anton, you're at 12 already, I think. Are you? 15. You're 15, which is good. Yeah.
I think I made it. Did I do 13 this week or 12?
I don't remember, right? I think it's 12. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Staying there, it's an amazing number. It means your metabolic system is really working like a fire, like it's burning everything it needs to burn. Okay. And that was metabolic age bone.
Your mom go on scale yet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How old are you?
12.
Yeah, his numbers are nice.
Okay, because you're a baby.
Yeah, no, his numbers are nice. The only thing we talked about with him is how much protein he needs to eat right now to help body to produce more muscle. Yeah, he knows now, right? You don't have to repeat. Yeah. Okay, bone. As we go older, we tend to lose bone, right? And osteoporosis is probably one of the highest indicators of like aging as well. There is a very cool company called Body Composition Company, and I have done now 2 scans with them. The first scan that I have done with them was in 2022 or 2021 or 22. That was the first scan. They show me how much muscle I have, how much bone I have, what my bone density is, and then I haven't done second one up until just recently. When I went on the scale, it's a machine you lay down and the cartridge goes on top and it reads your stuff. It gives you imaging, right? It gives you how much muscle you have in each limb, where the fat distribution is, how much fat you have in your head, visceral fat, everything, all metrics, including your DCI, right? And my muscle increased in the upper body. Different story about lower body, I'll tell in a second. My bone density increased and my bone mass increased. Meaning that all of this weightlifting that I have done in all of this last 3 years helped me to increase my bone density and increase my bone mass. So now it was 3 years, right? I'm 50 now, so in 3 years, I'm 145. Let's say I was 140 pounds. I don't remember how much I was at the time. I should have lost 6% of it, right? So 1.4, 1.4, 1.4. No, 1.4, it's 10%, so it's 2.8. 2.8, 2.8, that's 20%. 2.8, right? So 2, 4, 6, about 8, something around 8 pounds at least I should have lost of muscle. I lost 133 grams. From that number in 2021 to now, I lost 133 grams. 133 grams in my legs. I had, in the period, I had rhabdomyolysis happening to me when I trusted a person with the machine. And he put, it's called newbie machine, and we did the workout, and he fried my quads. And I got rhabdomyolysis happening because of that. I didn't know it was that at the time. I found out that I had it probably a week later, right? So basically what happened, this machine, when they put like electrical things on your body, and we went through my whole workout first. I just wanted to like slowly kind of do and see what was gonna happen to me. And he goes, let's do leg extensions. I go, okay, for how many repetitions? He goes, until failure. Cranks up the machine, we're doing leg extensions. I'm an athlete, I can do it, right? So I'm doing it. Next day, that day I came home, went to the bathroom looking at, like, it's brown, like, what did I eat? Right, I didn't even click in on me. Next morning, my urine again brown. I'm like, that's strange, what did I eat? Right, like, never even thought about it. And then my energy started to go so low, like it was so difficult, the pain was holding on for good probably 3 weeks. Like I had to take Advil for probably good 3 weeks. My pain was 10 out of 10. It was ridiculous. One of my clients told me, oh, you probably had rhabdo. I checked it out and it all makes sense. So I had to fix it. So I think because of that incident, I lost that muscle in the legs. It took me a year to recover. So I wasn't able to do any strength training because of that at the time. Yeah, it was crazy. And people do not realize that it's actually quite easy to, like that was like one incident. But it also can happen on very small increments when people do the cardios. Right, when people do the cardio and they kill themselves on the treadmills, that happening in a smaller increments, same idea. Right, but we'll touch on the cardio a little bit later, maybe in another time. So basically, what I want to go with all of this, if you haven't done that type of scanning, it's a very good to go and do it as a baseline of where you are right now, and keep at it and see where your bone is. Everybody, our bones are actually super light. Like it's like I am at 5, maybe 0.6, means like, or 5.8, means like it's 5-pound dumbbells, right? Like if somebody holded the 5-pound dumbbell, right? Like it's like that 5 pound holds the whole freaking structure. And now can you imagine putting 200 pounds on it? Poor bones. Right, so weightlifting is probably the only way to get the bone density increase or bone mass increase. And if somebody who doesn't work out, the bones become super frail, and the aging become like very dangerous, because if you fall, you break your hip and you're done. Right.
Can I add something? Like I used to work in a hospital. I've seen people, they're older, elderly people, literally laying cards, and they break their neck bone just by playing cards, because how fragile the bone is.
Can you imagine playing cards and break a neck? Crazy.
How fragile it is, like by just having their head down and playing cards.
Okay, and the last one is your visceral fat. So visceral fat is the fat around your organs, inside of your stomach cavity.
Oh, before you move on to the bone, so what should our optimal bone density be?
There is no such a thing as kind of optimal. When you get the number on my scale, if you over your life, you're going to see, we're going to measure it for 12 weeks, we're going to measure it, right? And then you're going to see it's increasing. More muscle you have, higher bone density is going to be. Anything like, I think for females, the highest I've ever seen is 5.8. If somebody who is very tall, it's a little bit, probably 5.9. If it's under 5, and you started to see it's declining, it means there is something happening with your bone. Right? For guys, it's 6, I believe 6.5. Anton, I don't remember what you are at. You're 5.8, but you're still very little, right? So not so much little, like you're not little, but you're going to develop a lot of bone tissue as well. But once you started to work out, it's going to become more solid. Yeah. Anton, do you remember what yours? We'll check it next time with the veins. Yeah, and then you just watch that number over the years, and that is going to be a good indicator of whether or not your bones are going down or up. But the body scan definitely be a very good way to have a baseline done, and check it every 3-4 years, and see where you're at. You can check it more often. I think next time we're going to be doing before I go to prep, and then after that we're going to be like when I'm like just about to fly out to my competition. So that's I want to see the numbers. Yeah. Now. Where are we at this time? I want to touch base a little bit about inflammation. We have 2 types of inflammation. We have classic inflammation, right? Classic inflammation. This is when you just cut yourself, you break a bone. I'm trying to get out of that sun right there. Okay, so we have classic inflammation, and we have when you break a bone, when you cut yourself, when you fall, and you scrape your skin, and your body will come and will fix it. Or we have silent inflammation. Silent. Silent inflammation starts in your gut, right? So it starts in the gut. It goes below pain threshold. So you don't feel it. It stays there for a long period of time, and it manifests in the diseases later in life. And we do not really going to feel side effects, because there is a lot of things you just need to accumulate it before it started to go somewhere. One of the probably the most dangerous components that I see, like it's not really kind of dangerous. Dangerous in a way that people shouldn't be eating it. If you eat it once in a while, you're not going to die. It's milk, anything dairy. When we are growing up, we have an enzyme that breaks dairy components, specifically casein in dairy, that breaks it down into amino acid form. Then we have delivery system that will bring it around our cartilage to form help to produce the cartilage. Then when we grow up, 20, 21 years old, so you still can have your milk. unless you like lactose intolerant already. Being okay, that's fine. That's fine. So some people do, right? So, and it's okay to do it up to about 20, 21 years old. After that, that enzyme disappears because we finished building our body. Done. Now it's just dying or maintaining. And then the enzyme disappears, but the delivery system stays. You keep drinking milk, that casein is still getting delivered around your body. This is one way to do it, and it gets collected around your joints. Eventually, it's going to become your arthritis. It can go into your spine, it can go into your joints, it can go into your arms, and it's going to become your arthritis in the future. Sometimes people develop, not sometimes, healthy people develop intolerance to that stuff. They become lactose intolerant. But they love milk so much, so they start buying lactose-free milk, but casein is still there. And casein is also going to be in your cheese. Casein is going to be in your meal, in your dairy, in your yogurts, like in cottage cheese. So that still is going to be there. The second part, what can happen is the body develop a dumping site in your body, and it start bringing anything that it cannot excrete, it's going to start bringing and collect it in a spot somewhere in the body. That's going to become your tumor. Whether it's going to become your benign or the other one that is a cancer is going to be entirely up on what other factors are involved in the body, right? So, and that tumor will start to grow. It started to accumulate all of the unnecessary garbage that you like. At least something is some spot. It can be, of course, removed. So that's another way for your body to get rid of it. And that's what it's called silent inflammation. Another very bad one that I always like to talk about is anything French fries, anything fried, deep fried. Right? When you are, there's nothing wrong with the deep fried food. You're just going to eat shitload of fat with it. But only if you make it yourself at home, and only if you dip your food once in that oil and that's it. Okay? So it's become fatty. You're going to eat a lot of fat with it. Hopefully it's a good fat, like not good fat, but hopefully it's not canola oil at least, right? But, and then it's going to, hopefully you're going in a lean diet after that and it's all good. When it's become dangerous is when you putting the food into that fryer, the particles of food will fall off. And they're going to keep burning in there. And then you put second batch of food in there. Those particles already been burned so much, they're going to attach themselves into the food that you just brought in. Some other particles are going to fall off. And those particles are keep burning in there, and they keep reattaching themselves into that food. If you go into the store and you buy French fries, and if the French fries is dark brown, it means that oil have not been changed for ages, right? And therefore, you're literally eating cancer right there. Right, so, and that stuff doesn't get out from our body. It takes a long time for the, okay, or turn it off. Yeah, so our body will be able to eventually get rid of that stuff, but it takes a long time. And if you're eating something like that on a daily basis, on a regular basis, then that stuff is simply going to keep accumulating in there. And it's going to go right into your fat cells, it's going to go into your muscle cells, and it's going to stay there. So that's another way of another thing of the silent inflammation. I also, like some of you may already know this, peanuts and coffee, right? Why are they silent inflammation components? Like why they would be in that list? You know, I think you know.
I think peanuts maybe because of a lot of toxins.
No. Peanuts are good.
They're a legume.
They're
a legume. They're like a bean. Maybe.
Still fine. No, it's fine. We eat legumes. Yeah. Anybody?
Are they fried?
Anybody?
Are they roasted or something? There's something they do to the
There is a reason why they're roasted. There is a reason why they're roasted.
Are they poisonous if they're not, if they're raw?
No? Okay. So okay. When they have
Much of them, I want to hear.
peanuts,
I love peanut butter.
Lots of it, peanuts.
you used to eat a lot of it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I used to love peanut butter.
I'm allergic to peanuts now.
Oh, okay. So it's actually a very simple answer. When they get harvested, they sit in bags, and they get moldy. When the coffee is multiple origin coffee, and they get shipped somewhere for like, I don't know, big chains, not gonna say any names, big chains, they are all coming from multiple origins. They sit in those bags forever, and they get moldy. Light roast, medium roast, dark roast. Dark roast is the burns the most. Makes sense now, right? That's what that's.
Less caffeine, that's probably the worst.
Yeah, it's because they need to burn off that all of the stuff right in there. So it helps to burn the mold, but whether or not it's going to get rid of it, not sure. So because of that, it's very advisable to do single origin coffees. At least they get harvested in there and they get roasted in there. And now that they are roasted and dry and vacuum sealed, right, they are at least going to have much less content of the mold. Peanuts, same idea, and yeah, the production of it is also like the shell itself is very porous, collects a lot of moisture. Before they go into production, there is going to be mold in there. Nobody's going to be checking every peanut for mold, right? Like, so just everything goes in. But I get rid of peanut butter in my meal plan for one simple reason, because everybody gets very addicted to it. And even if I ask 1 tablespoon of it, it's never 1 tablespoon. It's going to be big tablespoon. And then they're going to dip the spoon in and see how much can stick a couple of times. Yeah, so basically, yes, like almonds are fine, right? Walnuts are fine, as long as you can actually physically see that they're clean, there is no mold in them. You cannot see mold, right? But you can actually taste it. The rancidness, when they're rancid, it means those are bad.
But cooked nuts turn rancid. Like raw nuts are safer because they're less likely to be rancid, or is it more?
What's better, raw or roasted?
So what goes rancid in them is actually omega-3, omega-6, because those are the very fragile fats. They break down through the oxygen, and that's what become rancid, right? So it means that they've been sitting around open on the oxygen for too long. So therefore, they're most likely going to have some mold. If you fry them, then you're going to break down the rest of the omega-3, omega-6, and then they're going to be like nothing really. There is no saturated fats maybe left. Yeah. Well, anybody want to ask me any questions about anything? You want to do it? Let's do it after we wrap it up in here. Okay.
I know you were going to cover visceral, but we interrupted you, so you didn't really get into it too much.
Oh, right. Oh, my God. Yeah, visceral fat. So visceral fat, anything over 5%. Anything, it's not 5%, it's 5 pounds. So it's in pounds. It's a marker for the heart attack. For the competition, we get to anywhere between 1 to 2. This is where you need to be. And visceral fat gets all inside of the cavity, inside of the stomach. It goes also all around the joints. People lose a lot of mobility when they fat, right? Because now all of a sudden they cannot move their arms because of all of the fat that goes all around the joint of the cavity. And that is when the body fat also around the heart, right? It prevents heart from properly moving. So it needs to be around 1 or 2. 1 or 2 pounds. Yeah, it's in pounds.
Why do you think the scale won't show metabolic age over 50?
I don't know. Hopefully, like, maybe so people don't really have heart attack right there on the scale.
Well, like if somebody's 80,
Yep.
would it not be reasonable to have metabolic age of 50, or should somebody at 80 be able to age?
It's a good question, probably to ask the manufacturer. Yeah, I'm not sure.
That's like the max.
So to my understanding, what they were doing, they would take the average obese person, or like average person, like who is non-athletic, to the average kind of obese. They don't go into extremes. And then they will take average athletic person, right, and they do not go to extremes. And I think 50, it's where the majority of the people work out, or actually interested in some sort of the. Right now, that bracket of age bracket is shifted to much older population that love to work out, right? So maybe they're gonna change that. But I've heard from somebody who bought exactly my scale, and they have higher metabolic age now on them. That's why I was asking if it was you. Higher than 50. It does show now.
I need to find someone to use it to try it, but that's, yeah, because I got mine later than you did.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think at that time it's still like 50. Yeah, yeah.
Are there any other inflammatory foods? So you said
What tells you that anything dairy, right? So it's anything dairy, fried foods, deep fried foods.
Are there any vegetables that are inflammatory, or generally all vegetables are safe?
Vegetables. What do you want to know?
Oh, no, if there's something like a vegetable.
So all of the vegetables share water table.
They share
The water table.
okay.
All of the toxins that we have in our water and our soil are in our vegetables. Whether or not one is more toxic than another one, I think they're all toxic. And I do not know how to avoid that. You know, unless you are doing something and water it with the distilled water or the filtered water, right? So there is no such a thing as organic, unfortunately, right? Because everything, like one farm is growing organic, another one saying the non-organic, and that could be only not spraying some sort of a pesticides on them. But these ones do. This farm does, right? And it's through water table. It's all shared all over. Yeah. So I like fruits. They're growing but at least they're going through the whole trunk, whatever, right, of the tree, and something get filtered out and the fruit produced. And it's still like some fiber in there, right? And right now we're getting very polluted food. Very polluted. And when people are going like, oh, vegetarian is better, I'm not sure if vegetarian is better. Because the amount of chemicals that need to go into the production of that food is actually crazy, right? Plus, vegetables are not really less toxic. Meat, you can still find grass-fed stuff that are not being fed antibiotics and growth hormones. Right, so, and the fish can still be like brought from it could be polluted, especially if it's in farms, right? But if it's at least from the ocean somewhere, right, then, if it's wild, then it's better. Yeah.
What about protein density? Like, would you say organic chicken breast versus non-organic chicken breast has better protein content? Is it like, would it affect that?
Organic versus not organic chicken, better or not, more dense in protein or not. Definitely different quality, definitely when they fed different stuff, you can actually probably taste it if you cook it exactly the same way one to another one. But I think because our food is fidgeted with in so many ways, then when something is in a mass production, it's getting altered quite a bit. I have seen, or whatever, we've all seen like all of these videos, how water is added, salt is added, right, to retain more water in there. So you're buying, and then all of the water is gone and protein is left, right? So I think sticking to organic probably be the best bet for the quality or density of that protein.
Do you think the way it was raised affects the quality of the muscle that we're eating? Like if it's free range or, like cage-free versus not, like in the cage, like is their muscle development going to affect?
So if you eat athletic chicken versus sedentary chicken. I wonder if I taste better than somebody who is sedentary. It's a good question. I think, I think the athletic chicken would probably be leaner.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, right? If you go that direction, most likely going to be leaner. I think there is going to be more muscle fibers and stuff developed in there a little bit more.
Because you said there's fat in the muscle.
Exactly.
So even if it looks like meat, like muscle fiber, it could be more fat.
Yeah.
Wagyu beef has
Yeah.
fat in
Yeah.
the muscle, right?
Yeah.
But maybe it's harder to see in
If somebody want to cook gourmet meal out of me, it's not going to happen because it's going to be very hard muscle, right?
just need a little
Slices. Yeah, the fatty Wagyu steaks are amazing, right? Like, but they're like so much fat, but they're super soft, right? And I'm definitely not a Wagyu steak. And the chicken that is run around, I think because of there is a lot of things developed while they're active, right? So, and we're eating all of that. I think it's actually a very, very cool question. Yeah, I think it's definitely better quality. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, we are going to be wrapping it up to.
Can I send you some money for this?
Of course, yeah, you can transfer 25. Yeah. You're very welcome. Yeah. Oh, by the way, yeah, while we're here, so still here, so we're gonna wrap up. This is the book.
Love the new pictures.
Bunch of pictures in there for the. And you know what I did? Oh my gosh, you know what I did with this book? So in every picture that I have, it's done in a way that as I have a lot of followers asking me, can you send me pictures? Can you send me pictures? Well, now you can buy a book. You can take the picture out of the book, and you will not disturb the text. There's a picture. There is a quote. That's it.
Super smart.
Now you can get the book, get the picture. You can frame it, do whatever you people do with the pictures, and